Well, I could absolutely sit and listen to that woman chant for hours. Yeah, right. Alright, let's see. Discord is open, live with the shaman. Chat is open. Welcome to everyone who is joining us today, and welcome to those of you that will be joining us in our pre-recorded broadcast. Now, once again, a reminder, up in the description area where I put what the video title is and what it's going to be about is a standing link so that you can join in and talk if you wish. You're welcome. Again, a reminder that I have learned that I do have to put at the beginning of every broadcast we do. Live with the Shaman is an adult channel. We do carry adult content, i.e. there is no nudity. Dang it. But there is occasionally rough language. So I had to put that disclaimer at the beginning of every video. There is from time to time rough language. And so we're called having an adult content. That way when we upload to YouTube, they don't block our videos because they're labeled wrong. Well, gotta love it. Or not. Right.
Of course we love it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Okay. Our topic. This one's gonna, depending on how long this one is, will depend on how interactive you guys are with it. But our topic is shamanism without spirit. Shamanism without spirit. Is shamanism without spirit even shamanism?
No.
Been
there, done that.
Well, if you take shamanism, the spirit, right? If you take spirit out of shamanism, as shaman, there are things that we have that make us shaman. This does not mean other paths don't have it. I make it sound like a disease, don't I? Well, it could be. But there are things that shamans have naturally because of spirit, that if you take spirit out of shamanism, do we still have shamanism? Well, I don't know. Let's find out. What are the things that shamans have at the core that are real world, scientifically accepted philosophies? Psychology,
Ideology,
sociology, science, realism, like Cindy said, ideology, okay. And one of the biggest things that every shaman I've ever met has is an arrogance to push self-confidence, because most every shaman I've ever met is self-conscious. There is a certain amount of lack of self-confidence that through arrogance we're able to push that self-confidence over the threshold of doubt. And the way we're able to do that is with spirit. So with psychology and physiology, sociology, science, realism, and theology, and most of the other ologies out there, that shamans come by naturally. Would we still have those natural gifts, quote, or stroke curses sometimes, were it not for were it not for spirit? What do you think?
If we went back to the basic, to the core basic, probably we could do without spirit. Because that would be an everyday life thing.
Okay.
Am I saying that right?
Dave says shamans.
Go ahead.
Dave says shamans without spirit would have no teachers. I'm not even going down that road. I'm talking about as a shaman. If I removed my deity structure, my council.
No, the became what is it called? Atheist or Gnostic?
Well, no. Agnostic believes there's something bigger than self. They just don't know what. Atheist believes there is nothing outside of life but death. That there's no guiding force. There's no spiritualism. There's no spirituality. That's atheism. But I'm not talking about atheism. I'm not talking about belief. I'm not talking about religion, path. I'm talking about if you take spiritualism, spirit, out of the act of shamanism, do we still have shamanism? Kind of a perplexing question.
Yes, it is.
In a way, yes. Because you have, like you said, we have all those ologies and stuff, so it's like basic living, making things go without the spirit part.
Okay. Here's an oxymoron question. Now, how many shamans, now this is a rhetorical question, how many shamans have actually studied all of the different ologies and scientific realms and scientific ideologies, physiology, psychology, sociology, blah blah blah? How many shamans have actually studied the text of those society training materials?
Probably not many.
Okay.
Because that's a lot of information.
It is.
Just even trying to think about it is like, nope.
Okay. And one of the things I tell people all the time, I am not a licensed psychologist or counselor. Though I practice spiritual guidance in sociology, psychology. I do spiritual counseling. I'm into science. I'm a realist. I'm neither a pessimist or an optimist, but I'm a realist. I can see both sides of it. But the whole rhetorical question thing comes in. Would we have those natural gifts were it not for spirit. Boy, y'all are quiet. Right? Let's...
No, I'm still doing some stuff.
Oh, well.
Yes, I think so, because without the basic stuff, those ologies and stuff, life would be boring in a way, but also
dull.
It'd be boring, dull. But once you start learning some of it and start understanding it, then things open up. And I've told other people when they've talked to me about spirituality and stuff, I told them, what do you believe in your heart, not in your mind? And a lot of people give me this like, I don't know. I said, because you've been programmed. And sometimes you got to take that programming out and believe with your heart and soul and not just with your brain. And a lot of people can't understand that.
Well,
because they want to go with society.
Okay. And that's kind of where the formation of this topic come from. Let me draw a little foundation for you as to where this topic comes from, for those of you who know me, those of you who don't, and those of you looking into shamanism for the first time. In my younger years, I saw many natural healers, people that healed naturally, decide they wanted to be medically trained, get a license, be doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists and what have you. In amongst their training, they lost that. Their training trained it out of them. It's almost like the educational system for medical, all of the ologies, psychology, sociology, and psychiatry, and all of it. It's designed to train spirit out of you. And in fact, in many courses, I took a Psychology 101. I was never able to finish it because I got sideways with the instructor back in the 80s. Go figure. But one of the things that they teach you is religion, spirituality, belief systems have nothing to do with psychiatry, psychosis, and psychology, as well as sociology. I call bullshit. I call complete and total utter bullshit, because society is built on religious hypocrisy. Society is built on religious psychology. And if you don't think for a minute that a preacher standing up there pounding their Bible has not studied psychology, you're out of your mind, because they have. So the question, shamanism without spirit, would it still even be shamanism I say no. What do you think?
I can agree on that. I mean, thinking with the ideologists and stuff, like I said at the beginning, we always have spirit. Is there really, can you really take that out of us? May it be shaman, may it be any other religion.
Any other
Even
path?
with atheism, even with atheism,
Yeah,
because they believe in nothing,
Yeah,
which is actually a belief.
yeah, absolutely.
It's a spiritual belief of believing in nothing.
Right.
So I've had that conversation with Clayton. He blew up at me. He's like, I don't believe in anything. Well, then you believe in something then.
Yep.
Because you believe in nothing.
You believe that nothing is there.
Yep. So that's a belief.
Which is why
Yeah.
atheism is a registered religion. Because atheism is a religion. It's it's a contradiction in terms because it's a belief system that there's nothing there. But shamanism philosophically in and of itself is its own religion. Because we have Great Spirit, which is monotheistic, right? Great Spirit. But it becomes polytheistic when we break it down and we say Great Spirit is neither male nor female, but both. It's an androgynous being encompassing both masculine and feminine, thereby making shamanism polytheistic. And like we say, shamanism is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. You either are or you're not. Or, anybody from any path can learn what shamanism is, but unless you are shaman and unless you live shaman, you will never understand what it is to be shaman. It's the same way with witchcraft and druid. I've had multiple conversations with witches and druids where they said you'll never understand druidism completely until you live it. Yes, I get it. I agree. And then you get these people that don't know how to handle people agreeing with them. They keep on with their but this and but that and but this and but that, and it's like, dude, I'm trying to agree with you. But I've gone.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, I've gone to council several times with this question over the prior weeks because I knew I wanted to do this topic, but I wasn't quite sure how to come across that. You get those things where you know what you want to say, but you just don't quite know how to put it out there.
Right. Well, it's just like, okay, you get up in the morning. Could you be without spirit? Could you say, like, when I get up in the morning, I thank Great Spirit, God and Goddess, for the wisdom and knowledge I'm fixing to learn. But can you get up every morning and do without that? Could you not think about, okay, Goddess, please help me do this? Or, I do that all the time. I don't see me as doing without. There's no way I could do without. I'm a full-blown shaman with spirit. There's no way.
The question is, could you?
I could try it. Oh, and see how long it would last, but then it makes me feel empty. I mean, take
That
all our, put everything up spiritual wise, everything gone from the house.
that is exactly the point. Empty. To live the actions of a shaman without embracing and understanding spirit.
No way.
You might be shaman in name,
But in name we're shaman, but in more spirituality.
yeah. Our act of shamanism comes through in the congruency of our words. In other words, living what we say. And I can tell you that when I am counseling with someone, working with someone, or teaching, training someone, I am doing so through spirit. I'm listening to the spirit guides because they know a hell of a lot more than I do. I'm communicating with counsel what is the best way to approach this because you know a hell of a lot more than I do. But then that also teaches us to be humble. And I had someone...
Not humble, 2x4.
You're right. I had someone
Well,
ask me one time.
go ahead.
Had someone ask me one time, why do you talk so much of being humble when your arrogance and your ability to speak in public and talk to others, you put forward a confidence that there is absolutely no question in your being at all about what you do. I'm like, but if you're not humble, if you don't humble the knowledge you have, the wisdom you've formed, the education you've received, and all the rest of it, do you not begin to think you know more than the gods?
Never.
Right. But that's the whole point. So, if we tried shamanism without spirit, and I've tried it as a part of my training as a master, I was required to go a fortnight without calling, using, speaking to, thinking of, or asking for, or communicating with spirit. I was yeah. I was required to live simply, strictly, specifically as a gray-robed human being. In other words, no embrace of the light, no embrace of the dark, no embrace of life, no embrace of spirit, no embrace of self-spirit, and simply, strictly, specifically living as a shell human being, not allowing my belief to come through, but living strictly with the frontal lobe and surviving for a fortnight.
I don't want that.
And for those of you that don't know what a fortnight is, it's 2 weeks.
The most I've done is 4 days.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I think I would go crazy.
Yeah.
Your time's coming.
The interesting part Mine was in '08 when everything went to hell in a handbasket, when I was questioning everything anyway. Their retort was, okay, fine. 2 weeks, 1 fortnight, no spirit. No healing, no communication, no spirit will reach out to you. Your spirit guides will not be there. You will be, may as well be an atheist, because nothing is going to be there for you. I found out real quick that the very gifts that I depend on to get me through day-to-day life, communicate with human beings, communicate and listen to self, I found out real quick it wasn't nothing nice. I made it 7 days, and I went to spirit and said, okay, look, I acquiesce. You win. I get it. I got it. I understand. And that was when I reached out and we started putting the HOP and the GCS back together. Because I realized that the gifts that are given to practitioners, whether you're shaman, fae, witch, whatever, if you are of the healing nature, the gifts that you're given, the gifts that you learn, you have to have spirit to be able to function with those gifts. So the simple question is, if you take spirit out of shamanism, all you have is a name. It's just a name with no basis. And that begs the question, how many people do we know in the pagan, shaman, witch, Wicca, blah 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 community that has their path with no spirit?
I know a few.
That could open a whole can of worms.
Yeah, we could.
But here's the interesting part, something I have found, like I said, at the bottom of that list of every shaman I've ever met, myself included. We use arrogance of training and education to push us over the self-confidence role. And then we reach the point of arrogance overconfidence, and we have to be pulled back. We have to be reined back a little bit because we begin to lose humble. If you lose humble, are you still shaman?
Nope.
Yes. But the gods will see fit to make you smack you down. Do it. Get humble again.
Okay. Clint says no. Cindy says yes. Cindy's explanation I get, I agree with, absolutely.
I mean, there are shaman out there that I know that are not humble, and they're arrogant, and they're big-headed. Best way to put it.
Yeah, we've known more than one of them.
Yeah.
And I know for myself and for Cindy and Clint. I don't know about Dave or that's in the chat or anybody else that watches or listens to our broadcast, our pre-recorded broadcast. I don't know of anyone that's ever practiced shamanism. I don't know about other paths. I've not practiced other paths. I'm speaking on shamanism. I don't know of anyone that hasn't lost their humble from time to time and allowed arrogance, overconfidence to guide their actions and let their mockingbird mouth overload their hummingbird ass. We call it in the Grove getting a case of the big head. Every once in a while, we all have to have our bubble popped. Makes you want to walk up to some of the big-headed shamans sometime with a needle and poke them right there in the center of the forehead. Poke them with a needle and see if their head goes poof. Big head, overconfidence is a human thing, not a shaman thing, not a witch thing, not a druid thing, not a fae thing. It's a shaman. It's a human thing. So if we go back to education, I believe every shaman, in one way, shape, form, or fashion. Hi, Stephanie. Stephanie's still there. Every shaman, at one point or fashion, will misplace spirit. They will misplace humble. They will fall so deep into the education of the psychology, sociology, and science and all of it that makes shaman that they will forget where they're from, who they are, what their purpose is, and they will forget the foundation of humble. I've done it. I don't know anybody that hadn't. But if you're getting, and I would never tell anybody not to get a degree, by all means. But if you decide to get a degree in psychology, sociology, if you decide to get a degree in physiology, science, if you decide to get a degree in psychology.
I started that, but I didn't finish.
Yeah, not many people do. Can you, let's change the question up a little bit. Can you be a shaman and hold a PhD in the ologies, if you will, that make up the shamanic gifts? What do you think?
Say that again, just to make sure.
Yeah. Can you maintain your shamanic spirit and get a society-approved degree, a PhD, a doctorate, in psychiatry, psychology, sociology, and in the different ologies that make you who you are?
I think so, but that's the thing is it depends on each person as an individual to keep it. A lot of people let things reteach them, and you got to be able to learn to keep your base course. A lot of people can't do that when they start learning that stuff.
Cindy?
I think we can. because it's part of us to use what we have to get a degree. In other words, you're thinking for yourself and doing a degree with your spirituality.
Now, one of the things that I've seen, and it's real easy to internet search, shamans with a PhD, shamans with a doctorate degree. What is their main focus? Money. They charge for classes. They use the PhD as leverage. They use the degree as a way to stand over the top of people. I have been told by more than one PhD'd shaman that unless I have a PhD, don't talk to them because I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. So don't talk to me about shamanism because you have no idea what you're talking about.
They have the book learning. They don't have the spiritual anymore.
Therein lies the whole point. In order to get the education, you have to set spirit aside. Because if you involve spirit in education, you end up losing a lot of the social programming that comes with the psychology degree. Now that's been my experience.
I agree on that because people I've talked to before go, do you have a degree in shamanism or do you have any degree? Because it's a title.
There is no degree in shamanism.
I know. It's like, okay, what do you have to support your shamanism? How did you learn? Where did you learn?
And that is the society in which we live. Go ahead, Clint.
And that's when they start spouting off all these schools and this and that. It's like, no. I tell them the school that you're supposed to learn from the school of life, not the school of books. Because books are insignificant when it comes to real world experience.
And see, it's in that balance. We need to know what's in the books. We need to know what society is being taught so that we know how to approach society with a educated philosophy, if you will, or an understanding of where society is coming from. But books do not a shaman make. Books do not make a shaman. And when I tell people my path as a shaman is not designed to impress you, whether or not you take what I'm telling you and think on it is up to you. I'm not here to save you. There is no PhD in shamanism. And if you look, there is a PhD in religion, but it's not religion that has the PhD. It is the study of world religions along with everything else that comes to go into college that gets you the PhD. Just because you attend a preacher school or a ministry school doesn't give you a PhD. It's the combined education. So there is no PhD in Christianity. There's no PhD in paganism. There's no PhD in shamanism. So in the core, in the reality, what makes a shaman is spirit. Without spirit, you don't have the definition of shaman. Without one of the biggest parts of shamanism, you don't have shamanism. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Totally makes sense.
But wisdom, when we talk about wisdom, we know that wisdom is a combination of education and experience, or knowledge, if you will. Knowledge is combined experience, the knowing, things that you just know that people, books, whatever have not taught you. People and books teaching you, that's an education. Knowledge comes from life experiences. When you combine knowledge and education, you form wisdom. So if all you have is knowledge and you haven't looked into any of the educational properties, you're lacking, in my opinion, you're lacking the wisdom that it takes to be able to stand up in front of people and combat the society combativeness that's out there and be able to say, no, you're full of shit. So where do we go from here?
Day at a time?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So in a kind of a short topic, if you will.
Yeah, I think we've had enough play out. Or, there's not so much you can talk about.
Right. So let's think about a closure. Shamanism is a lifestyle. Education is an action. Spiritualism is a belief, a stack of beliefs, a practice of beliefs, congruency to those beliefs. To have shamanism without spirit is to lose your natural given gifts. And without your gifts, what good are you as a shaman? Just my thought. Perplexing. An interesting thought to think about. Shamanism without spirit. We'll leave you with that. What?
I miss the good old days where we sat around the bonfire and talked.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. The digital world has put us where we are today, and at least we have it where we can kind of sort of talk. And absolutely, to those of you that watch our pre-recorded broadcast and listen in live on the different podcasts out there, thank you very much. And hey, I hope you have a good week. And I've already kind of picked out the topic for next week. So if you want to check us out, hashtag Live with the Shaman. We'll see you next week right here on Live with the Shaman.